Black education movement from 1965 to 1990. The early Black education movement and the Black supplementary schools movement was a form of self-help when faced with a national education system perceived to be prejudiced and inadequate for the needs of Black children. Haringey Borough Council adopted the report to the Haringey Education Committee on Comprehensive Education on the 31st of March in 1969. However, people were suspicious of the frequent emphasis placed upon the high proportion of immigrants within the borough. A leaked document titled Haringey Comprehensive School in January 1969 by Alderman Alfred Dalton, subsequently known in the community as the Dalton Report, sparked widespread opposition because of the following text. On a rough calculation, about half the immigrants will be West Indian at 7 of the 11 schools, the significance of this being the general recognition that their IQs work out below their English contemporaries. Thus, academic standards will be lower in schools where they form a large group. The leaked report explained the reasoning behind the public report to the Haringey Education Committee on Comprehensive Education sent out in March in 1969. Such apparent prejudice against Black children fed on an existing belief in neglect in the state education system. Sensing unease, the council delayed the proposal on banding. This gave the protesters the time they needed to circulate copies of the council report, draw up leaflets and prepare a response to the Dalton report. Parents unfamiliar with the state education system were frequently told that their children would be placed in special schools. The belief that this would enhance the education of their children was soon shattered when it became clear that special translated into ESN or educationally subnormal schools. Following talks with the chairman of the Haringey Education Committee in autumn 1969, the council conceded that serious errors had been made in the past and that they were willing to rectify the situation. Having discovered that there were a disproportionately high number of Black children in local special schools, the North London West Indian Association made a formal complaint to the Race Relations Board in January 1970, alleging discrimination against Black children under the Race Relations Act 1968. The Caribbean Education and Community Workers Association became the initiating and coordinating body of Black education issues and the setting up of independent Black supplementary schools. An influential publication by Bernard Coward, How West Indian Children is Made Educationally Subnormal in British School System, was published by News Beacon Books on behalf of the Caribbean Education and Community Workers on the 6th of May 1971. The book was considered to be a breakthrough and was distributed widely. The emergence of Black supplementary schools was a form of self-help when faced with a national education system perceived to be prejudiced and inadequate for the needs of Black children. A supplementary school were run by volunteer teachers, community activists and parents. They also aimed to build the self-esteem of children so that they could stand up against prejudice. The George Padmore and Albertina Sylvester Black supplementary schools were started on 1969 by John LaRose and others in Finsbury Park area. The George Padmore School for older children operated for 7 years out of 2 Albert Road 3 times a week on Monday, Friday and Saturday. The Albertina Sylvester School was for younger children, with classes on a Saturday morning and initially operating out of Albertina Sylvester's house at 57 Victoria Road before moving to 2 Albert Road. Teachers at this time included Roxy Harris and Rachel Roberts. Finance came from members' contribution of £1 per term. With the emerging struggles and campaigns launched under the Black Parents Movement in 1975, John LaRose handed over the running of the school to Roxy Harris. In October 1975, a decision was made to merge the schools in order to maximise use of resources, both teaching and financial. By 1976, the merged schools were looking to obtain permanent premises, but funding was insufficient. The George Padmore and Albertina Sylvester supplementary schools ran jointly for 14 years, and the George Padmore supplementary schools continued into the early 1990s.